Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host, Josiah, aka Mahler67, and with me, as always, you know I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
Hello, everyone out there in the Twitch world, and how are you doing?
Hopefully pretty good, but I
I
may
just
have
thought
blown out their ears.
I thought I wanted to do a little bit of the old time radio show, just because of what we're doing this week.
Oh yeah, like a little
Yeah.
Alistair in the mix.
Yeah, that's his name, Alistair.
Yeah, that worked.
Yeah,
That's good to
yeah.
good to play, Austin. Good to play.
Speaking of Alistair, we're doing season 2 of Hotel. No, I'm just kidding.
Hotel
You
Hell.
wish. Everyone wishes.
We just go straight into Hotel Hell. Like, wait, what? Like, yep, that's what we're doing from now on.
Yep, we have seen the future.
Yep, we have seen the future, and the future is grim.
Yep.
No, Austin.
Yeah.
A little bit of a late. We're super late when it comes to this. Just because of the fact that like just things kept happening over and over again, and then straight up last week we kind of both forgot, or no, I kind of forgot. Wait, no, we both forgot, and then this week on Sunday I forgot because we had to change our schedule for your new schedule, and that has been thrown the loop. I also did find out something. The reason why I didn't remember yesterday. The alarms I set for were for Monday, not for Sunday.
Ooh, yeah.
So that's on me. I have to change those now, and hopefully get that fixed and get used to doing it on Sunday. But since we had today off because of Memorial Day, we're like, hey, we'll just do Fallout today, get that out of the way, so that we can then go on and do the next one, and get back onto it because we've just been just constantly and stuff. We were I think the last time we did an episode, Austin, was the weekend before we went to see
Book of Mormon.
Yeah. And that was a fun thing. I really enjoyed that. It was a great time. It was something. I liked it. It was very enjoyable, but it was unfortunately very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's why they are playing the same cast. They are going to be doing it in October, so we're gonna go see it again. So it's more enjoyable this time because then you'll be able to fully function probably by then. But also too is my buddy Brandon wants to go see it too. So
yeah,
I was like, it'd be perfect for us.
Yeah.
So
and hopefully he enjoys it. Well, I know he will. He's that type of humor. But yeah, we'll see if I'm fully functional. I set myself up with a chiropractor that our friend Alex raved about.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. I'm going in to his on the 4th of next month.
Oh wow, that's like next week.
Yeah. So let's hope that he sees like, hey man, this is the issue, and starts doing some adjustment, and then my life gets a lot better. I'm praying that works. Because the physical therapy that they want me to do has been pain in the butt to get active, just because of the in-network settings that they have for my healthcare. They're all outside of Pittsburgh, so I have to travel like 3 or 4 miles outside of Pittsburgh just to go to the physical therapy and everything of that sort, and it just makes it very annoying to do, especially if I have to drive. And so I'm hoping that the chiropractor is actually the thing to do, and it's great and saves me issue, or it's horrifically bad and I have to go to the hospital and then they get to do everything on me, and then I find out that I actually have like a xenomorph inside of me, and it's like, that's why you couldn't get better. There was no chance of it.
Yeah, just the weird thing is it likes to sing and tap dance.
We can only hope.
While you're in spasms and pain.
Which, to be fair, speaking of that xenomorph, that basically kind of leads us into Fallout if we want to.
Yeah.
Just because that is like a very similar style of like the "Hello, my darling," and then it's all that
hello, my
beautiful
baby.
stuff.
Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah. If this conversation will be weird, one, because it's been so long since we watched it, because I watched it prior to that. And
Yeah, it's been a
then
while.
we had just weeks on weeks of us unable to do the podcast, which has effectively diminished my like initial thoughts on the show,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I try to do every time whenever we do a podcast. Is I try to finish the show the day of. Like on Wednesdays, I try to finish it the last 2 days. With us moving to Sundays, that's actually really nice. I can spend most of my day in the morning finishing up the show that we watch.
That I forget to watch.
I don't even forget to watch. I'll be honest. When Bros and how we used to do Bro and Show on Wednesdays, after Wednesday, I was so burnt out that I wouldn't watch the show until Sunday the next day.
Yeah.
Or the next week. Which always what would happen is I would watch like a bunch of episodes on Sunday and then just binge them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get ready on Wednesday. Now with how it is, I can binge the show on Sunday and then have a whole week to kind of like do a couple episodes and enjoy, and hopefully that helps. Hopefully that fits, but I don't know. It may or may not. I'll figure that out, I guess. But yeah, Austin, let's go ahead and dive right into it. What did you think of Fallout Season 1, Amazon show?
So I'll state this before I start getting into my review. During the Fallout TV show, I was actually playing a Fallout game that I never played before. So I've played like the original 2 Fallouts, Fallout Tactics, and then Fallout 2.
Okay.
I tried my hand at Fallout 3 and didn't like Fallout 3 when it came out at the time, because at that time I wasn't into games like that. And then I played New Vegas at one time, and I was very upset. There's a reason why it's a huge thing and it's funny, but I don't like New Vegas. There's a reason why. And if you'd like to know that story, just hit me up and I'll tell you that. But it's too long. So I was playing Fallout 4. And what I've been told by most people that have watched the show is Fallout 4 is the one that is, usually good for new players. Like, it's a good game to like be like, hey, it doesn't have the role playing as much as all the other ones does, but it has better gunplay, and like some of the mechanics about building is really cool. So, try it out. So I did. I thoroughly enjoyed the game a lot. So then I was playing the game and watching the TV show at the same time, but I never finished the game until after the TV show.
Okay.
But I will say this: the atmosphere and the environment that they do in this show is perfect. Like, whoever did this show knew what they were doing. They knew this is going to be for the fans, and it was a total fan service. And that's what you kind of need for a show like this. It's fine. Like, that's what people want. They don't want this convoluted, crazy story about, all this other stuff. And the thing is like, I read up so much stuff about other vaults and just some of the crazy stuff that happened with all the other vaults.
Yeah.
But
the one thing I
like
would
this
mimic you just off of the bat, right? Like, my level of Fallout play knowledge comes down to about, I played maybe like 10 hours of Fallout 4, but didn't do much missions because I was too in like Simverse, like just building up a port. And like it was fun and interesting. I also played the whole way through Fallout 76 with my friends, but it was much more of us just grinding than like actually doing anything storyline, because it was when it first came out, and a lot of people don't like that, I guess. But like my interest in the Fallout world was very like minimum. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, there's a Fallout, New Apocalypse, Vault Dwellers and whatnot. This show did a fantastic job of introducing lore in a very simple and digestible way for new people to the show, to the point where you get interested in the Fallout series. After watching the show, I did the same thing, Austin. I watched a bunch of lore videos on different vaults. And how, like, once the show kind of revealed, like, yeah, all the vaults were like mental, psychological, like torture things.
Science experiments. They were like a science project there for like Vault-Tec. Like, it was like, you know what? Here, let's do all these experiments in the vaults. And like some of them that I've read, I'm just like, wow, like this.
Yeah, some of them get
all...
creepy and crazy and whatnot. But I liked that, and I was like, you did a game good. You did a game's adaptation good if you get people wanting to get into the lore of the other medium.
Yep. We're
Like
seeing.
I point it's how I feel about like the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, right? People loved that so much they went out, got the books, and started reading the books. Like they were interested in that. Same thing can be said about the Harry Potter or the Lord of the Rings books, because there are some people who like the stuff so much that they then go out and get the other stuff. Fallout season 1 did this for Fallout.
Oh, yeah.
In contrast, this is how you do it right. The show that you don't want to do it to is the Halo series, which I refuse to watch unless like you force me to. Because that was a series that you could tell like they just took the IP of the game and made up their own story and didn't care about the lore. This is the thing where they obviously took the lore of the game, like world, and they're like, we are incorporating that into our world, making it a one-to-one thing, because it matches. Like a lot of things are matching. They're not like retconning things. Like in Halo, like Master Chief's taking off his helmet every 10 seconds and he has like all this good hair and he's a normal looking guy. And it's like, that's not how Master Chief is in the series. Like he is literally like bald and like pale as a ghost because he never takes off the helmet. Like he never takes off his armor, and he's supposed to be a ginger, and they made him some like super like tan guy. And it's like, I don't know, man. You just didn't care. And it's like Master Chief has this weird fixation with like another character, and it's like, no, he's antisocial. That's why he loves Cortana, because she's not really a human. Like, come on, man. Like, they didn't care about the story of the world. They wanted the IP to draw people into their story. This was a thing of, I felt like the people who made it cared about the IP and wanted to tell a story from the world and not just use the IP to get things. I will also say that the references in the show I liked a lot more than other, like, I think of do you remember the what's that movie, the Lego movie?
Yeah.
How like there was constant references on top of references. And the thing I told my friend Dan at the time, he's like, this is a great movie, this will be a very good movie for the rest of our lives. I'm like, no, it's going to be only good for our generation who was active at this time, because all these references will mean nothing to anyone else in 10 years.
Oh yeah.
In the Fallout like show, a lot of the references they did there were just small little hints of things, you know, like whenever she sits down to like drink from the water and her beeper thing's going off, the rad thing that would normally go off in the game whenever you're doing that, or like whenever she taps the bobblehead, like people like were like, hey, the bobblehead. Or my favorite one, my favorite one they did was at the end of the series when she gets to the destination and she looks down at her tech, the Volt Tech thing, the Pip-Boy, and it says, you have arrived at your destination, which is what shows up in the games. Whenever you click a marker and you get there, it will show up on your screen like you have arrived at your destination. I love that. I'm like, that's a great way of incorporating it. That is a reference, but is not intrusive to the story.
Yeah.
There's only one intrusive one that they did, and I rolled my eyes when it happened, but I let it go. And that was the war. Like, war never changes. And it's like, okay, I had to throw that one in there. I'm not even a fan of that series, and I know that's what is said all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Austin, yeah, you can rant for a bit. Sorry to take over.
No worries. I think that one of my favorite references in the whole game actually is the reference of a charisma check gone wrong. I love that they put that in there, and it's subtle, but for fans that are huge fans of the show, someone pointed that out to me. They were like, hey, did you know that was a charisma check and she failed? And I was like, no, I didn't know that. The part where they're like on the railroad together and like those stragglers come up, those raiders, and it's like, what are you doing out here? It's like, hi. And they were like, F off. And you're like, that's a charisma check. I was like, really? And then when I started playing the game, I have failed charisma checks, and it has been the funniest stuff I've ever seen. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, what are you gonna do about it? And it's like, I'm in a power suit. That's the kind of stuff that like I love is like the charisma checks and the hidden dialogue that you can play in that game.
Yeah.
But the thing I will say is there was a lot of references to like how wounds are healed, and stim packs. There's like multiple stim packs everywhere they show. They
Yeah.
show like Raid-X, Raid-Away, like all these chemicals that they
Raid-Away,
use in the game. They also hinted at Deathclaw is going to be a reference. You know. 'cause
Oh
at
yeah,
the
we saw
end
the
they show-
skull.
Yeah, we saw the skull, and then the last shot we see is New Vegas. So we get to see, you know, season 2 is gonna be cool. But what I thoroughly will say about this show, why I liked it so much, is because Matt Berry's in it. But no, I'm just kidding. It's
Yeah,
true.
no,
It pushes it a little bit. You are the most devious bastard, and
That
Vault
gets us,
33.
man.
No, you know, and that was great. I loved his little role. It wasn't anything big, but it was like great. He was like Cogsworth. That's what the robot is called from Fallout 4. I don't know
Yeah.
what they called it in that. And it's funny to see two actors actually that I haven't seen in a while, and that's Kyle MacLachlan. That's the guy that plays the dad.
Mhm.
He was in Twin Peaks, was a show that I really enjoyed him from. And then the Flintstones movie, we said that.
That was what I remember the most.
Yeah. And then, of course, the guy that plays the ghoul, he was Mr. Stone in the Community episode.
Yeah.
But he's been in a lot of movies. Like he did a lot of Wild West movies and stuff like that. So it was kind of nice to see that. I will say this: you're doing a show, right? When you're a game that came out as panned as bad as like Fallout 76 was, because people were like, hey, it's glitched, it's Bethesda. Like that's the running gag that I've heard from fans that are like Bethesda fans, is like when I'm like, well, there's a lot of bugs in it, you know, because there was like a new gen update for Fallout 4 that happened like a couple weeks ago. And I remember talking to our buddy Terry, and I was like, yeah, you know, like there's been glitches where like Hancock's whole jacket will like take up half the screen when he's walking. It's like, oh yeah. And he's like, well, it ain't Bethesda without any glitches. And I was like, man. But I remember when that 76 came out, so many fans of Fallout were like, this is awful. This is a terrible Fallout game. Don't buy it, don't play it. But now it's like got a huge uptick because of the show.
Oh yeah.
And people are playing games now. And that's the thing, is like the most dreaded stuff that I remember, you know, ever thinking about watching, you know, about video games was awful. Like, let's be real. Tomb Raider has had they're okay movies, but they're not great. You
I
know,
don't
they're
remember
not
them.
great. I remember the last Tomb Raider movie, where they actually remodeled it to the latest games. I enjoyed that one. I thought it was good.
Oh, okay.
But I will say Halo, I have watched the first season of Halo, and I only watched it because I wanted to see how bad it was, and it was bad. And I'm glad that we're starting to, I think this is a media, like a way to realize that I've learned two things lately. Video game movies and storylines and how environments work are really well to be put in a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that D&D is like a universal, just an infinite engine of ideas.
Okay.
just
Those are
keep
two
knocking
like
on it
very
forever.
like different things, but no, I get you.
Yeah, in the nerd community, that's what's happening. Like, you know, like 5 years ago, you would have said Marvel or superhero movies are going to be the thing, and it's not happening anymore. Like, superhero movies aren't really that big deal anymore, and I think it's going to be video game adaptations now, because we're going to see we've already seen 2 video game adaptation TV shows that are phenomenal, and that was Last of Us, and now Fallout has done that. And then you have Last of Us 2 coming out, like the season 2.
I mean, it kind of
you know,
it leans on the idea of these like super narrative heavy games, right?
mhm.
Fallout is a very narrative heavy game. It has a lot of
yeah.
like great things about. Again, I'm talking from someone who doesn't know a lot because I don't play it,
Mm.
but I've talked with people who love it. Just it's all about the world, the atmosphere, and the show did it good enough that like people are like, yes, this is what we want. Though apparently, like my one friend was kind of upset at one point because whenever they saw the power armor in the trailer, like flying and landing, yes, Molly, they were like, that looks so goofy and bad. Like, I'm worried. And then you watching the show and you're like, okay, like, it's not bad. I do feel like, and I don't know, again, don't play Fallout enough to know the whole beats of it, because I get sidetracked in any type of Bethesda like game, and I spend 30 hours just doing random side content and
yeah.
never complete the game. But like, I feel like the Templars, the Iron, not Templars, the Iron Brotherhood or Brotherhood of Steel,
The
that's it.
Brotherhood of Steel.
Like
yeah.
they made them kind of like laughing stocks in the show. And like, yeah, they're like powerful and have these power armors and everything, but they're still like like the one guy was a baby, like scared and ran away against a bear. And then
Oh,
like
yeah.
the other guy was like kind of an idiot as well. Like, I'm like, what? Is this like a comedy thing that happens all the time in the games, or is this just what they're trying to kind of vibe for in this show?
And it happens like that in the games. I've realized that it happens like that, where like 1 minute it could be like super serious, the next minute it's just goofy, or it's just like this person's terrified of you. You're like, whoa.
I saw
also-
a clip of a dude playing Fallout. I don't know which one it was. I think it was New Vegas or Fallout 3 or something like that, where like there's this dude named Caesar, and he's like this warlord, and they're like, you're given the choice to like give the medicine or perform the operation on him yourself. And when you perform the operation with bad intelligence, his head just explodes.
Yep. Yeah, it's
And then
Fallout New
like the
Vegas,
people
yeah.
are like, how could you kill him? And it's like, he's fine. You look back over, it's missing the head. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's like the comedy, I guess. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool comedy. Like, and there was a lot of Easter eggs with the comedy that I love, because like the scene where Maximus and Lucy is like running, and the guy that was from the Brotherhood that gets turned into a ghoul
Mm-hmm.
starts shooting and misses every shot.
Yeah.
That is a joke on the whole slow down system that they have. I forget what that system's called. It's like
The VAT
AP
system.
The VAT
VAT.
system. It was a joke on the VAT system, and I thought that was hilarious. I was like, yeah, I know exactly what you experience when you're low level. Then they also made a reference with that guy too about being encumbered, because he had like the big bag, like when he was
Mhm.
like helping the knight, helping Maximus. But yeah, they had a lot of like, you know, I think what they did here is they set it up to, you know, keep this going constantly, but it also might help. What I will say about the show is I think it will help fans of the Fallout games, because it's been 12 years. It's been 12 years since a game has came out, and that was Fallout 4. Really, in reality, you know, because Fallout 76 wasn't a real story legit game. It was just like more of like a, you know, a
It was
multiplayer.
yeah, it was like a MMO multiplayer. Kinda.
Yeah, so
Or at least whenever we played it.
I know like the boss of Bethesda and Microsoft even said that they are trying to push to another Fallout series, and I'm like, I don't know why you didn't try to come out with a new Fallout game when the show was happening. I think it would have just succeeded way past it if it was a good game.
That's Bethesda.
But,
Like
yeah,
the
just
the
don't
one
get it.
issue that I always have with like people who are big fans of like Bethesda is like, they're like, Bethesda makes such great games.
hmm
5 years after the release of the game, like whenever
But yeah,
Fallout
it's-
76 came out, my friend was like, oh, it's gonna be so great, it's gonna be so fun. And then we get it and it's buggy as can be, it's hard to do anything, there's no like story or anything, you're just running around doing these like almost borderline like stupid like time wasting missions, and like there was nothing to do other than just level grind yourself. And then the issue is that there was no PvE servers, there was just pure servers, and you would just have people just standing outside of the vault murdering everyone who spawns to just make it that they can't play the game. And it's like, this is dumb, like this is bad.
Mm.
And then now my friends are like, oh dude, you have to play Fallout 76, they fixed it, it's such a good game now, it's much better. I'm like, I get it, but there's a side of me that's like,
I've moved on
I
a little
don't
bit.
want, yeah, well, I moved on, but the biggest thing is like, I don't want to support this mentality of releasing a game that's not finished, and then it's okay as long as you patch it up, right? Like, I know my one friend was a big fan of that No Man's Sky game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I heard really bad things about that. It's like, oh no, it's a lot better now. They fixed and patched a lot of that stuff. And I was like, that's good for them. I'm not going to do it. I'm not a big fan of games like releasing in a pre-alpha or finished state in a game that should be in like an alpha.
Oh yeah.
Like that's why, like, I've been playing a lot of the V Rising game, right? And like, you know of it. Me and my friend Johnson, I got that game when it was an alpha a year ago or 2 years ago. And that game was the most completed game in alpha I've played in a very long time. I felt like I got I paid like $15 or $20, and I felt like I paid like $60 for worth of content. And then they did a big update a year later, and I basically got to replay it all. And then they just released it, and I feel like I'm like, this game I felt was completed. And I felt like I just got new DLC the last 2 years. So heck yeah, that's how games should be. And same with Baldur's Gate. You know, Baldur's Gate, when it came out, like, it was like, boom, here's the whole game. Yeah, were there bugs? Were they fixing them at a massive amount? Yes, but they had so much good from the get-go that you kind of went past that. And that's why I just don't really care about giving 76 and any more effort. Also, I'm ranting because I'm a gamer. I'm not big on Bethesda's whole, like, hey, we know you want a new Fallout game, so we're remastering Fallout New Vegas. Like, stop just re-releasing what people already have. Sorry, didn't mean to rant about that, Austin. That was legitly, that's how my life goes sometimes. I just think like that.
Well, you know, and I understand. No, I get it. I'm the same way with when No Man's Sky was a thing. Like, I remember it coming out and everyone's like, wow, that was terrible. And then someone's like, oh, they remodeled it. You should totally do it. And I think I bought the game just to play with a buddy of mine, and I played like 3 hours of it, and I refunded it. Like, just because it wasn't the game that I play anyways.
Yeah.
But I will say this. You're trying to get back on subject with Fallout. I feel like there was only like one gripe, and we actually talked about this gripe the last time I was with you. And that was the whole ghoul shooting Maximus at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And he shot like 3 shots, and it didn't hit him. Like, it was like, oh my gosh, like, this power armor is like so powerful. But then at the end of the show, you know, I pointed out, I was like, wait a minute. The ghoul took down like 4 people in power suits, and he said that like he was part of the war and he knew what those power suits were, and like he knew the weakness with them. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like, he didn't do that with Maximus. Like, what's going on here? That doesn't make sense.
And I initially tried to like explain away, like, oh, maybe it wasn't, he didn't have the gun that was able to. Also, my hands are covered in Molly's fur, and I like touched my face, and now I have like fur on my face. And so I'm constantly over here trying to like get anything off of it. And it just feels like there's fur on my face, and I can't help it. But no, I tried to explain away, like, oh, maybe the gun wasn't strong enough or whatnot. But it's the same gun that he used, so that doesn't count. I couldn't figure it out. So yeah, that was a pretty big oversight. But if that's all that the show came down to as an oversight, that's not bad. That's not bad at all, man. You know. I'm just wondering when you think that they'll release the next season.
I don't know. I think that they're going to release the next season probably 2 years from now, I would think.
2 years?
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to get a year thing. But the thing is I could be wrong, because Amazon learned their problem out real quick, especially with Invincible season 2. Where they were like, whoa, we need to release like a season every year. And they might, because The Boys is that way, you know, where every year they do a Boys episode. And then Hulu now is doing The Bear twice a year. Like, they're going to do it in June, and they're going to do it in December. Like, they've already filmed season 3 and 4. And season 3 comes out here in a month, exactly a month from now.
Yeah, but Hulu also tries to release everything in weekly lineups.
Yeah. Well, no, they said that The Bear was going to be released exactly how it's always been, where it's just one season.
One drop?
Yep, one drop, which makes sense because Netflix is starting to do that again. And actually, we were kind of surprised with Fallout because, you know, The Boys and Invincible was every week, and then all of a sudden the Fallout series was like one.
Yeah,
drop,
that
and
that
we
was
were
the
like,
thing that
"Whoa."
caught us off guard. We
Yeah.
thought it was going to be a slow burn thing.
Yeah, and it was like.
I guess it
instant
doesn't
drop.
matter as much for Amazon, right? Because they're not trying to retain people on their services. They're trying to like get people to get Prime, which a lot of people already have Prime, and so all they're trying to do is make people like want to use their services and get the people who aren't buying Prime for the reset, like the like shipping and whatnot, to get Prime for the movies and shows. So dropping everything at once is just building up their library to be actually a good thing for them. So I can
Mhm.
understand them doing the whole like drops.
Yeah, and I think maybe a year from now that might happen, but they haven't like concluded that they're starting to film that.
Mhm.
Because you also have like the Ring of Power comes out here soon. You got. They already said that Invincible was going to come out sooner. You know, and they also have to do the Boys comes out this year too. So I don't know, and we'll see because Amazon looks like they're going to put their hat in the game with a lot more other things that are going on, especially with bundles now. So I don't know how that's going to work with the bundle stuff because they might have like cooperative like shows together like with other streaming networks. We'll see. But the thing is I think this show did really well for the fans and for people that are trying to get it into the Fallout series. This did great. This was awesome. It was really well done. You know, there was like my nitpick, and also they did my boy Maximum wrong and gave him the Indiana Jones ending. Well, the Indiana Jones thing with the whole him being in the fridge when the nuke came down.
Oh,
Yeah, when they nuked him.
yeah, but he was
because-
a kid.
Yeah, and then the thing was like when they talked about that, you know, another vault actually nuked Sadie, you know, like was it Shady Side or whatever it was? or Shady-
The
Vault
Ca-
33 did.
yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
They nuked that town. I was like, is that a real thing in the Fallout games? And then I played Fallout 4 and I was like, it is correct. There is people that's what they do is they nuke each other because they can't solve a certain problem. And they're like, you know what? Why don't we just explode it? You know? And I was like,
Mhm.
makes sense. The one thing that people did find out is that Voltec was the person that dropped the bombs at the beginning, which doesn't make sense whatsoever to me.
It doesn't make sense. It
it
makes no freaking sense whatsoever. Like even though it's like a great like oh surprised evil guy, you
Yeah.
know,
I was just like,
it doesn't make sense. Like
it's stupid.
it's an illogical thing. Like let's nuke the
Yeah.
society that we get money so we can
Yeah.
get more money. Like that doesn't. You destroyed the society. Now, I did know of a theory.
Yeah.
And that's called the American Wasteland theory, I think is what they call it in the Fallout
Mhm.
game. And the idea is that it's only America that is a Fallout Wasteland. The rest of the global world is perfectly okay. And it was America and Voltec who nuked America. And they did that so that way the rest of the world would be afraid of against each other. And they would be like, look at America. That's a wasteland. We don't want that. And so they're purposely like causing issues over and over again, using all this stuff to make more money in the general world outside of America. And that would then make sense for why Voltec did it if that is the story. Because we haven't had a Fallout game outside of America.
Mhm.
And that could make sense. But it hasn't been confirmed yet. That's just a theory. A game theory. And we'll
Yeah,
see.
there it is. Yeah. No,
If that ever gets revealed, that would be the only way that makes sense. Is that Voltec nuked? Is if the rest of the world's fine, just only America is destroyed,
Yeah.
and America is so self-centered that they don't realize that the rest of the world's okay.
Yeah. So that yeah, I've heard that theory, and you know, it kind of could be that way. But the thing is it doesn't make sense if they nuke the whole world.
No,
just
no,
doesn't make
it
sense.
doesn't.
It's
It doesn't
just
make
not-
sense at all.
yeah.
But if they nuked only America, where all the vaults are, to do the experiments and everything on, and then the idea that America got nuked by some other power puts the rest of the world in like this like red letter, like we're afraid, we're ready to nuke each other at a time, and Voltec sales go up and whatnot.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense. If America, one of the superpowers in the world, can be nuked to oblivion, imagine what can be done to you. Like,
There was one thing that I will say about the show that I found, I don't know. I feel like it I don't know. Some of the dialogue in the show didn't upset me. It was more of just like I kind of rolled my eyes because it was very uncomfortable and it was goofy.
yeah, well,
Like, there was like the part where like they're talking about like Lucy and them are in the other vault
yeah,
and they're like, hey, you want to have sex? Like that
Yeah.
whole dialogue scene was like, oh god, this is awful. And then plus the whole dead head thing, where they're like kissing. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was goofy. But overall, that crap. I think everyone played their character very well. They played all their characters very well. And then we also found out that like Vault 33 has like a huge secret, and it's the secret that is they've had like these executives from Vaultex the whole time, and then yeah, it's
they're just
pretty interesting
breeding out
stuff.
perfect executives is what they try to do.
Pretty much breeding it out, just walk down the hall, get in there. And yeah, it was fun. And I think all the storylines that they did in this show was really well done. The only thing that freaked me out a little bit was like the mom being there at the end, where she's like this dead rotting ghoul corpse, and she's like, "Wah," and I was like, I was waiting for the whole Old Yeller thing. It's like, no, Dad, it's my mom. I'm gonna do it.
Well, that's basically what it was.
And that's
Like,
exactly what happened. But
and then the dad gets in the power armor and runs away. Like, that was hilarious to me.
he's like, "Ha ha, gotcha now," and like leaves.
I'm
like
heading
that
to
guy.
Vegas.
He's heading to Vegas to build a machine that chops up rocks in a quarry, and then come to find out that he's wasting
No,
terrible
he's creating concrete.
sources.
He's creating
Concrete.
concrete. That's what was
Yeah.
happening. And the
Concrete.
rest of the Flintstones are like, "Oh no, he's destroying our jobs." Blah blah blah. That movie was super like conservative, like anti progression, because this guy all he wanted to do was create concrete that would be better and stronger for society. And the Flintstones are like, "Oh no, you can't have that."
Well, no. Hey, man, when's the last time you watched that movie? Man, that's
I don't
probably
know.
been
It's
a
been
long
a
time
while.
for you. But the reason why is Flintstone stopped him is because he was cutting corners. Remember,
Yeah, I know.
the plant was going to fall apart.
Yeah, you're
So,
capitalism. I know. I get you.
yeah.
What's more
Whoa.
capitalist than the idea of cutting corners, Austin?
Worker safety. We don't
Work-
need that.
Like, literally, that whole movie was a very anti-capitalistic
Yeah, it was.
prerogative. Like, it's funny whenever you watch it and, like, you have, like, a better concept and understanding of things later in life, and you're like, huh,
I remember like
no wonder I have
remember-
these perceptions.
I remember like I was trying to get with this like so funny story about the Flintstones movie, trying to get this off a little bit weird. So there was a girl. I went to a show one time. It was I'm trying to think what show it was.
Was
It
it a
like
rock
3
show?
emo bands. Yeah, girl at the rock show. There was 3 emo bands, and it was at this place called the Basement in Columbus, and we were all hanging out. And I was trying to get with this one girl. And she was talking about like her favorite artists and stuff, and she was like, My Chemical Romance. And then she said the B-52s, and I was like, B-52s? And then she's like, yeah, Love Shack, baby. And I was like, no, I don't know who that is. And so then she starts playing it on her phone, and then I was like, oh, you're talking about the Flintstones, baby. And she was like, I'm done. She kind of was like, what do you mean? I was like, man, my first introduction to the B-52s isn't Love Shack, it's the Flintstones movie. It was
Yeah.
pretty funny. She had a good laugh. It was pretty funny. But yeah, past all that.
I'm surprised someone who's a fan of them wouldn't know a cameo of theirs,
Oh, they did, but they didn't know that I didn't know who the B-52s was, and the only reason that I knew them was because of the Flintstones. So yeah, I forgot that they were in the Flintstones until she played that song, and I was like, the Flintstones, baby, it's the way to, or Bedrock, baby, it's the way to be. It's kind of like someone not knowing who Vanilla Ice is and then just playing ninja rap. But no, so yeah, so far, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed season 1, and I'm happy that this is going forward. I'm glad that the community has picked up on it and they love it, and they are like, they're in love with this show. Like some of the people that I talk to, like our buddy Paris, you know, is a huge fan of Fallout. And I was like, what'd you think? And he was like, dude, that show was awesome. And I was like, good. I'd like to hear it from a Fallout fan that they love it. And a lot of people are saying, they're like, this is how every fan should. And I was like, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Can't wait for season 2. This is a show I'll probably watch again before season 1 because I thoroughly enjoyed this show. Actually, like,
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't
it was
expect me
all.
to
I'll
join
definitely
this.
rewatch it at some point.
Yeah, it's good. And
It's a
you
good.
know,
It's
always,
a feel good show.
it's a feel good show, and it's got Matt Berry in it. And you know,
Yeah.
Matt Berry's good.
Here's the reason why I've been rewatching What We Do in the Shadows. It's because Matt Berry's in it. All right,
I thought
Austin.
I thought you had the shits.
Chilaquiles.
The killers. I told you to stay away.
All right, Austin. I think that basically does it for our episode of Bros and Shows
Yeah.
today. Next week,
Yeah.
we're going to finish up Being Humans. It's been a bit.
I know.
We gotta watch the final season. Yabba dabba do. We gotta do what we have to do. But yeah, Austin, thank you so much for joining me on this episode.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next week, Sunday night at 8:15
Yeah.
for Bros and Shows. So thank you very much,
Yeah.
Austin. I'll catch you later.
All right. Later, guys.
All right, thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you all so much. Tune in